Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and welcome to the final week of Smaugust. We made it. We're in the final stretch of drawing dragons. I don't know how I pulled this off. It was a lot of work. But basically what I did for this whole month was I did a bunch of random chance dragons every day where I'd roll dice based off of a chart that I had that I'll put right here. And we just drew a dragon every day. Wow, this challenge was very fun, and I love drawing dragons. I am exhausted. Because like I still have my full-time job. I haven't cut over to doing art and YouTube full-time yet, so oh my god. Doing both at the same time was a big challenge, but I'm very proud of myself for pulling it off somehow. So I hope you guys enjoy these last couple dragons. So let's go ahead and jump into seeing the last couple of dragons for this month, including tomorrow. So it's a little bit of a sneak peek because today is technically the 30th. And then we'll wrap up this challenge with a nice little bow on it. So let's jump in and check these out. Hey guys, welcome to day 24 for our Roll for Dragon challenge, where we're basically rolling a dragon every day for the month of August to celebrate Smaugust. And the dragon design is based 100% off of our dice rolls. So we don't have too many prompts left of the list, so let's see what we roll today. Okay, first D6 for the dragon type, which is a 6. So we got another lindworm. Now let's get our first prompt with our D100. 38. 38 is alien. Ooh, interesting. And then for our second prompt, 37, small. So we have a small alien lindworm. Let's get into sketching this one. This one's gonna be cute. All right, we're kicking off week 4 with a cool, weird alien. I also love in my little intro video, I'm like, yeah, this one's gonna be cute, because I had a totally different like vision in mind before I started. But when I started sketching, I had like kind of a combination of inspiration. I had just recently watched the new, not the new Alien movie, but Alien 3, yes? And so I know I had the xenomorph fresh in my brain, but then I was thinking about it and I was like, we haven't really seen, at least I haven't seen, a like gray alien dragon type of thing. So I was kind of going for a combo of both of those. I mostly wanted it to be closer to the gray alien, because I've seen a lot of like xenomorph, you know, creatures and dragons. So I wanted to do something a little bit different and probably a little different than my initial gut impulse. So yeah, I wanted it to be a gray alien, but then when I got to the mouth region, I'm like, okay, well, it's gonna look xenomorphy because I still want it to be dragon-like with a lot of like teeth and chompers, but then having the big head of a gray alien still kind of looks like a xenomorph. So I'm just gonna say it's a combination of both. It's a little bit of gray alien, it's a little bit of xenomorph. But yeah, so with this one, I also downloaded a vein brush because I saw a lot of renderings of gray aliens. They look really like their skin is like very translucent or like pale, even though it's very gray. And I thought that added such a fun effect to the skin of this creature. And then I also tried to give it like, I don't know, different color patches on its skin as well outside of like the shading and highlights. I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like when you get a bruise and like the blood is like closer to the surface of your skin. I feel it would be like that, but it's not bruised. It's just kind of like a different chunk of pigmentation. If you know the medical term for that, let me know, because it's very hard for me to describe, but that's kind of what I was going for, was just like a different part of the skin that has maybe more blood towards the surface, so it has that other pigmentation. So yeah, this is very far from the initial cute reaction, but I think this alien dragon turned out pretty dang cool. Hey everybody, welcome to day 25 for our Roll for Dragon challenge, where we're basically drawing a dragon every day in August for the month of Smaugust, and the design is 100% based off the roll of the dice. We're kind of closing in on the end, so I'm excited to see what our last couple of dragons are going to be. So let's start with the D6 and figure out what type of dragon for today. 4, another worm. Oh my gosh, now we're getting all the worms in the back half. All right, let's roll our D100 for our first trait. 91, white dragon. We got the second half of the blue eyes white dragon. And then for our second trait, 96, metal. Ooh, interesting. Let's get into sketching this one. I think this is gonna be pretty sick. So next up for day 25 is one of my mortal enemies yet again, a mech dragon. I was hoping I didn't have to do more than one in this challenge. I knew there was a chance just based off of like what was on the list between like metal. I think there was one that was like a cybernetic virus, and then there was another, I don't even remember. I feel there was quite a few that were on the list that were, you know, potentially going to make me draw mecha dragons. But here we are with a white dragon metal combo. And with the worm as well, after I finished drawing this, I showed it to Josh, and he was like, that looks like Cyber Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm like, dang it. So unintentionally, this one kind of looks like my own take on Cyber Dragon. It's not exactly the same, but between it being like white, a worm, and have like plating, it's kind of close. If it was a different color than like the whitish gray, I think it wouldn't have been as like easy to relate to, just because I did like the plating differently and the face is a little bit different. But you know, sometimes that's just what happens. You roll the dice and you get something similar to something that already exists, you know? But either way, this one was, of course, a challenge in its own right, but the segmentation made it a little bit easier for me to chunk through because I didn't have to worry about how do these legs attach? How do these wings become mechanical? So the worm was a blessing in disguise for this one just because it made it a little bit easier for me to tackle a like mechanical dragon. I don't know what it is, but like mechs have always just been a challenge for me. I think I'm just more of an organic artist. And mechs, it's a little bit harder to flub certain aspects of it without making it look weird. And then I think there's a certain like rigidness that's associated with mechanical creatures. Not always. I mean, there's always like more organic, flowy designs that can be used for mechanical creatures, but I don't know. It's just something I've always struggled with. But with the two that we've made in this challenge, I feel like I'm seeing that I'm getting better at them somehow. Some of my early mechs, like I was thinking back to, I did a collab forever ago that I did like this Mecha Godzilla combo, and I don't like looking at that one. That was a really rough mech. So comparing it to now, though, I feel my mechs have vastly improved. I still think I need to figure out how to render metal. That's one thing I think I could improve on, and I feel like I could always improve on. But I'm pretty proud of this, and I'm proud of the mechs that I was able to create in this challenge. So, you know, I am happy that I rolled them so that I could, you know, put myself to the challenge and try it again. But they were very intimidating coming into them just because, like I said, metal, tough. These type of creatures are really hard for me, but I love them. They're really cool. Like, I was a huge fan of Zoids, and so, you know, I'm not really complaining too much about drawing mechs. They're just a little scary. Hey there, welcome back for our Roll for Dragon series, where I'm basically drawing a dragon every day for the month of Smaugust, and the design is 100% based off what we roll off the dice. So let's go ahead and get started and see what we get. So first off, for the D6 for the type of dragon, we have a 2, so we have an Asian lung. And then we'll roll a D100 for our first trait. 83, mummy. I was hoping to use this one. And then for our second trait, 6, which is abyssal. So we have an Asian lung, mummy, abyssal. This is gonna be really creepy. Let's get to drawing. So starting into this one for day 26, when I was starting to look up reference images for this one, I realized that my mental definition of abyssal was totally wrong. I don't know why, but in my brain, abyssal was like almost like demonic. So it sounds like infernal in a way, but I don't know why I thought it was like underground or underworld, like demonic type of description. And when I Googled it, I'm like, oh, they mean like the abyss of the ocean, abyssal. So going into this, I had like a word mixed up in my brain, but quickly corrected it when I was looking up reference images of what abyssal meant. And oh, I love really cool, creepy, deep sea like monsters and fish, and I think they're so cool and creepy. So I was very excited to do this one. After I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So I looked up quite a few different references of some deep sea monsters, and weird fish. And I had those open as my reference while tackling this one. And after I found out about it being not demon, but deep sea fish, I was like, oh, for the mummy aspect, we could totally do like seaweed or like some type of plant life to mimic the idea of like bandages for a mummy. Because I was thinking, like, after it being underwater, I'm like, well, you could make cloth by like, I don't know, parts of like old ships being ripped up, like flags or whatever, or masts from old sails. But I just didn't feel that fit as well as I wanted it to, and I felt the seaweed just worked perfectly with this one. So with this one too, it ended up being a bit of a struggle. I did fine up until after the line art for in the coloring phase, because at first I really didn't like it. I think that's just part of the creative process with things like this, like between it being a challenge and something I don't draw super often. I was really intimidated by like the fish body I was trying to replicate. A lot of the fish that I was referencing, they're almost like translucent. Their skin and exteriors are very like thin and translucent, and you can kind of see their innards without fully seeing them. And I was kind of struggling with that at first with how I wanted to render it. And then also I hated drawing and coloring seaweed, because I was just trying to figure out how to make this stuff look almost translucent with the glow effect from the fish. And I wanted it to look like it was deep sea underwater and dark. And so a lot of the initial beginnings of these coloring, I just had to keep my head down and I'm like, just do what you usually do, chunk through it, and then add those special effects after. And I'm glad I pushed through it, because it was not working for me mentally at first, but after I got the shading and the highlights initially down, I'm like, okay, now it's starting to click. Now I'm getting it. And I finally got into the groove with it. But I'll let you know, it was agony for the beginning, because I just don't know. It wasn't jiving with me right. And then towards the end, after I was finally getting the final bit of rendering done and doing like a nice like gradient soft light over it, it worked after that. So I'm very pleased with this one. I think it turned out really sick, and it's probably in my top 5 for sure. It's awesome.
Hey there, welcome back to our Roll for Dragon challenge for our month of Smaugust, where I basically am drawing a dragon every day in August, and the design is 100% based off of the random roll of the dice. So let's get to rolling. Okay, first off for the type, a 3. Another wyvern. Next, we'll roll our D100 for the first trait. A 17, which is magma. Oh my god, I love using magma. And let's get our second trait, which is 80. 80 is a vulture. Oh, this is gonna look sick. A magma vulture wyvern. Heck yes, let's get into sketching. This is gonna look sick.
So I was so excited for day 27, because magma is like one of the my favorite characteristics to work with. In the past I did one, I think it is on the channel. I kind of mix up which monsters are on the channel and which ones are in the creature compendium that might have not had a video, because I draw a lot of monsters outside of YouTube. But there's one that's in the creature compendium that I think has a video, where it's this really cool, like, I think it was like a porcupine plus like some type of reptile, maybe a little bit of pangolin. I'm trying to remember all the aspects, but that one had magma as well, and I love that creature design. And it's not every day that I get to work with magma, but I really enjoy it, both because it's cool to do like the hot colors, and then I like doing like the big chunks of stone that are like on the surface of the magma, and like the cool like red to orange to yellow transitions. I just really love working with magma as a characteristic. And this one was really cool because with the vulture, I was like, oh, I have so many cool ideas. So first off, the vulture head is based off of a king vulture, both because of the coloring, and I wanted its like piercing eyes. Like I was looking for that particular look. And then it's, I've been told what this is called, and I'm forgetting again, but they usually have like the big kind of glob of skin on the top of their beak. I thought because the coloring of that one had like that reddish orange, it could easily be like a big chunk of magma like coming off of its face. And I just loved that idea. So that's kind of what the face was inspired by, as well as like the horns, I imagine, are like bigger chunks of magma that are already kind of like hardening more into rock, but it has like the little bands of magma going up through it. Oh, I was just so happy with this one. So I had a blast making this one, and I ended up trying a different technique when rendering the magma. I wanted there to be a little bit more to it instead of just having only the surface rocks and then the magma around it. And when I was looking up reference images of magma, I was like, oh, what about like the chunks that are kind of further down in the magma? Like sometimes you get those cool like rocky bits or darker areas of the magma. And I feel that added so much cool texture to this one. I was really happy that I added that in. And then I also, with this one, colored the line art as well. I haven't really done that previously with other magma pieces, and I've been trying to add it more and more into a lot of my drawings, so then it just kind of adds a different depth to the design as well. But yeah, this one ended up taking a very long time, lots of little details, went around and highlighted basically every rock individually, but I think it all paid off. It all looks really, really cool. And like I said, I love working with magma. So this one was just really excited to jump in and do.
Hey there, welcome back to day 28 for our Roll for Dragon series, where I'm basically drawing a dragon every day for August for our Smaugust challenge. We're in the final stretch, guys. We have made it to the final, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11? No, final 4. So first we'll do the D6 to see what type of dragon. A 2, so another Asian long. All right, let's start off by rolling our first trait. 66, which is Pearl. All right, let's get our second trait. 24. Which is Beetle. Oh, this is going to be a really cool combo. Pearl, Beetle, Asian Lung. This one's going to be gorgeous. Let's get into sketching it.
All right, next up we have a cool bug dragon, and I was really excited to pull Beetle. I was really hoping to pull it because I also really love working with the Beetle characteristic because of the plating, and there's so many cool different shapes that come with beetles, and they also have like the plating plus like little fuzzy bits to them. I think they're so cool. They're such cool little critters. And so I was really excited to work with the beetle aspect. And then with the pearl aspect, I was a little like going back and forth on what I wanted to do. Because with this one, I was like, okay, it probably should be like an actual pearl, like that type of thing. But then I had the idea of doing mother of pearl for its plating, because I really wanted to use both. I thought it would look really pretty to have both aspects. And the mother of pearl would just give me so many cool colors to work with, as well as like a really cool texture. So I'm going to be like, hey, technically we have both pearls. And so I had like, as well, I wanted to put like pearls along its body, as well as one like kind of almost like floating above its horn, like it's kind of just holding it in place there with its like cool dragon powers. And with that, I knew that I wanted to do the mother of pearl coloring. And so instead of like a white or like pinkish white pearl, I ended up going for like the darker, I don't know if they're called like black pearls per se, but I saw a few that were kind of in those deeper bluish, grayish tones. And I was like, that's going to be the perfect pearl. Let's go for that. And so after I got that kind of blotched in and figured out, I tried to replicate the mother of pearl coloring style that I was seeing in some of the reference images. And while I don't think I hit it 100% compared to what mother of pearl actually looks like, I still really like what ended up coming out of it. While it's not probably 100% mother of pearl accurate, I think it looks really cool. Like the texturing of it, and like the color transition, I just love it. And like the pinks, the greens, the blues all together, I feel work so cool, like so well. And it's so cool. I just am kind of blown away with myself on this one, just because it's like, going into my art career, I felt like I was very much like red dragons, fire. Like I had a very particular feel and look to my art. And I feel a lot of my creature designs have been more in the blues now and the greens, and I'm really digging it. And I think they look really, really cool. So yeah, I feel this was like very much a career piece for me. It was just so cool, and
I mean, it's similar to what I do, but it also feels like such a departure at the same time, but in a good way. Like, it just shows growth, and I love how it turned out.
Hey, welcome to day 29 for our Roll for Dragon series, where I'm drawing a dragon every day in the month of August for Smaugust. And what's fun about this one is the designs are 100% based off the roll of the dice. So we're in the final 3. I can't believe it. We're almost done with this challenge. So let's go ahead and figure out what our number 29 is going to be. First off, we'll roll our dragon type with a D6. A 6. So we have another lindworm. Okay, first off, we're going to roll our first trait with our D100. 20, which is mushroom. Oh, that would be cute. All right, second trait. 77, which is purple teeth. I don't know, that works really well with like the mushroom purple teeth combo. Let's get into sketching and figuring this out.
So I was really excited to jump into this lindworm mushroom purple teeth combo. I was very excited to be able to draw both of them because I really wanted to do mushroom. This was another one that I saw on the list that I was like, I looked at and I'm like, please let me roll that one. And then the purple teeth just immediately gave me this vision of kind of like this shit-eating grin that this dragon could give and show off these really cool purple teeth. And after I had that vision, I was like, well, then it would be really cool to make almost like a mushroom cap for this guy and just make him look like way too cool for school type of feeling. He's just like the coolest creature and just looks like such a chilled, laid-back guy. And after I had that vision in mind, I just kind of ran with the rest of his design. I'm like, okay, well, with that then too, it'd be really cool if he was just kind of propped up on his own body, just chilling. And then I was like, it'd be really cute to have like almost like alligator-esque arms. I would love them to be like kind of shorter and stubbier. And then those are resting on top of the part of his body. And then as I was rendering and kept going and sketching, I was like, oh my gosh, even better though, if we got a morel mushroom and made it look like a rattlesnake tail. So this one I was just jiving with so much. Again, this is another one. I know I just said this for the beetle piece, but this one feels like another big like career step piece for me. I don't know if it's just like, I think Smaugust is just bringing out the best in my designs as of late. They're just so cool. Like the prompts are like really awesome and I've gotten really lucky with the roll combos, or maybe it's just like I like designing the roll combos so they're all turning out cool. But this one just has such a cool mood and a look, and I really love how I rendered it and the colors I chose, because I know initially in my TikTok my little short video, I was saying like, yeah, like I'll make it cool and psychedelic colored, but I feel it works even better with the red because then it really highlights those purple teeth. Because if I went with like purple mushrooms or green mushrooms, I think it would be a little bit more hidden to those purple teeth. So I don't know. I just really love this. I think it turned out really cool and is for sure in my top 5. I'm going to have to actually sit down and pick my top 5 because there's just so many cool and strong dragons in this challenge. So yeah, here is my mushroom purple-toothed dragon, and I absolutely adore him.
Hey there, welcome to day 30 for our Roll for Dragon challenge. We're in the final 2 for Smaugust. I can't believe we did this. A whole month of dragons, and I had a blast with it. So basically, for the 31 days of August, I'm drawing a dragon every day based off of the roll of the dice. So let's get into figuring out what the second to last dragon is gonna be. All right, let's start with our D6 and figure out what type of dragon we're drawing. A 1, another European dragon. All right, let's roll our D100 to see which trait is chosen. 99, which is plant. And then our second trait, 3, which is hag. Oh, this is gonna be sick. Oh, this is gonna be gnarly. Sweet, let's get a European dragon that's a hag with plant started. Oh my God, this is gonna be so cool.
Okay, so on to day 30. We're in the final 2, and for this one with the hag plant combo, I was really excited. I thought this would be a really cool combo, just because like a lot of times when I picture hags, I think of them as like cool, like
crones in the woods type of thing. I think it's just between like The Witcher and then the newest hag from like Baldur's Gate. Gives me like that kind of like forest witch gross thing. It's giving me that vibe, you know? And so for this one, I was going between doing like different plant aspects for the design. Like I wanted the hair to look like big long leaves, and then it would have like vines coming from different parts of its body. And then I liked the idea of having like a hunchback that was like growing moss and mushrooms off of it. And so with that, I just kind of kept running with that design and adding more and more layers of plant life. Like for the forearms, I added like almost these like leaf cuffs in a way. I added some more vines to different parts of the body, and I just kind of ran with this one. So looking back at it though, I'm kind of torn because I do like certain design aspects about it, but at the same time, I wish I pushed some things a little bit more. Like I had more of an idea of this being more, I don't know, like fully plant-based. Like maybe the body would be more of like, I don't know, the texture of bark, or having more plant life embedded in the design a bit more. So I don't know. I'm going back and forth because I do really like it, and I like having like the moss and how I set up the wings, and just the overall look for sure gives hag vibes. And I feel I did, I guess, accomplish the plant quota, but I feel I could have pushed it even more with like more plants, or like made the skin look more, I don't know, like some type of plant. Like it was a weird balancing act because I feel this one for sure reads hag. There are plant elements, but I kind of wish I pushed the plants even more, if that makes sense. I still really like this design. I think it looks really cool and creepy, but I do wonder what I could have done to push the plants even more with this hag combo. But then I might have lost the hag, elements. Who knows?
Hey there, welcome to our final day of Roll for Dragon, day 31. We made it. We drew 30 dragons and I'm about to draw 31. So with this, the final day, let's do one last set of rolls and see what we're drawing today. All right, first up, our D6. A 5. We are rounding out this challenge with a Drake. All right, let's roll our first trait with our D100. 25, which is stained glass. And then our second trait, which is 27. Oh my God, Kieran. What a perfect combo. Kieran plus stained glass. This is going to be really sick. Let's get into drawing our final dragon for Smaugust of 2024.
All right, here we are with our final dragon design for Smaugust of 2024. This one was like, I feel such a pretty one to end with like the stained glass Kieran combo. I'm like, perfect. What a great idea for the final dragon. But I did struggle with this one because I realized I don't really render glass that much. So I was going back and forth already on the pose, as you saw earlier. I totally scrapped my first initial sketch because I just was not liking it. And I wanted it to look kind of more majestic and flowy and have like a lot of movement to it with like the Kieran aspect. And so I totally changed the pose. And I'm really glad I did. I love this pose so much more. But my idea was basically to go through and do the line art as if the line art is like the welding on the glass. So I kept it a little bit thicker. I ended up doing it in gray. And I tried to add thicker parts of it in different areas for like a better binding of the welding, if that makes sense. So that was kind of the idea I had in mind going into the line art and kind of the rendering of it later on. I basically add a layer over it and add some more like highlights and darker darks to that metal area. And then I end up kind of struggling a little bit with how I want to render the glass because there was like a couple things. Like one, I wanted it to have like highlights similar to glass as if it was like either being shined onto or maybe in front of something. But then I thought that would look a little odd on like either it wouldn't work with like a dark background or the white background. So I was struggling with that. I was looking up reference images after I finished the line art. And I just was kind of going back and forth on exactly how I wanted to render. So after I like kind of had some references to the side, I just basically was like, all right, I'll tackle that once I get the coloring done and figure that out. So I placed in a bunch of different colors that felt very Kieran-esque. I love doing those blues and greens. And then I went in and added some highlights and like little connective bits because I feel it needed just a little bit more to it to really sell the glass idea. And while I liked the highlights and the shadows, I feel it wasn't giving enough glass vibe. So I asked a couple of my friends online and they're like, make it transparent. And I was like, duh, glass, transparency. So then adding that just really sold the idea this was made of glass. And there you have it. We are done with Smaugust 2024. I've been wanting to do this challenge for a very long time, and it just never aligned with my schedule. And even though it was a little rough to fit it in the schedule for this month, I'm very grateful that I did it because it was a blast. It's always fun to draw dragons, and it's one of my favorite things to draw. So, I mean, I'll never complain about drawing dragons. But anyway, here is our final community highlight. Thank you guys so much for participating along with me. It was so cool to see so many of the dragons. Like, I was following along on the Discord and like on Tumblr and Twitter and Instagram. There's so many cool ones. So if you guys are on any of the social medias, go check it out under KM Roll for Dragon and like go give some love to the community members because you guys designed some really sick dragons. So applause. Thank you for participating. They all turned out so cool. Thank you so much. And then I also want to give a shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and like trying to make this art thing a reality. If you guys would like to get behind the scenes images before they're released online and also high res copies of all the artwork I make in my YouTube videos or on Instagram, go check out my Patreon. I'll also be rolling out a few other things for it soon, like a sticker club and maybe prints and other things that you can get every month. So if you want to just jump over there, become a free member, I'll at least do the announcement for when I like change over to the new tier system. And then if you become a paid member, you can get some cool digital art in the meantime. And then support me by making the scary transition into being a full-time artist. It's going to be crazy come October. But either way, thank you guys again so much for stopping by and checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed Smaugust. If you like these monthly challenges, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to do more. I've always really liked Inktober, and this one was really fun too. And with going full-time, I think I'm going to have more time to keep integrating some of these cool monthly challenges. But either way, thank you guys again so much for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.